Hi, and thanks for tuning in. I wanted to remind you of our Road to 1,000 subscribers giveaway that we have going on our YouTube channel. If you subscribe and have a public profile, you'll be entered to win a free RX Smart Gear original jump rope. You'll get to pick the pattern of the handles, the color and weight of the cable, and you'll be getting one of the best-selling, best-performing jump ropes out there. Every time we hit a new century mark with the number of subscribers to our channel, we'll randomly select a new winner. And our friend Dave Newman is going to throw in a little something extra for each winner. So a special thanks to our sponsor, RX Smart Gear, to Dave Newman for being such a great partner, and to you for being a loyal listener. Good luck, and I hope you are our next winner.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I wanted to talk to you about our new sponsor, Element 26. They are an innovative company producing lots of products around the CrossFit, strongman, powerlifting space. They have weightlifting belts, they have knee sleeves, they have thumb tape. They have these cool little straps that go around the bars when you're trying to attach a bar to the rig and maybe using it for low bar work, like pull-ups for little kids, or some modifications for like bar muscle ups when you're trying to teach someone to do them. And you know how you wrap those rubber bands around the rig and the J hook to kind of keep everything straight? Well, they've made straps for that. And they're straps kind of like the straps you use for rings. They have a really secure system on it, and you can wrap around the bar and keep that nice and secure. I love their innovation. Their product development team is top notch, and they're just coming up with really different ideas for our space. So check them out at element26.co. That's element26.co, and tell them Kat sent you.
There he is. Hey, Matt.
Hello.
How are you?
How's it going? I'm good. How are you doing?
First, I got to ask about that picture. The dog. What kind of dog is that?
This is here. Come here, baby. Come here. This is my little baby, my little blue heeler. Just a sweet little guy, sweet little doggy dog. His name's Danner.
Tanner?
Danner, yeah.
Danner. Okay.
Yeah.
So cute.
I know. He's my favorite. I love him.
Looks like you're outside in beautiful weather.
I am.
It is cold here in the Midwest.
Yeah, that's what I hear. All my family's back east in West Virginia, and so they always tell me, like, I think they're getting called for snow on Monday. And I'm like, well, it's 80 out here, and I'm loving life, so you can't complain about that.
Yeah, I've been ignoring the weather forecasts just because I don't want to admit that we're getting close to winter.
Right, it's coming up.
Yeah, so. For those who don't know, we're with Matt Dlugos. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Okay, Matt Dlugos. He is Underdog Athlete, Underdog Coach, 2021 West Coast Classic semifinal participant. Before we get into too much, though, some news kind of broke over the last day or so about the PFAA. Are you familiar with who that is?
Yes, I am.
So they actually made recommendations to CrossFit about the height of the rings and the height of the pull-up bars being more standardized, so it was not unfair to taller athletes. And for our listeners, if they don't know, because you can't tell from just Matt's headshot, that he is 6'4", very tall for a CrossFit athlete.
Very tall.
And you don't have to confirm or deny this, but I know that at West Coast Classic, the ring height was an issue for taller athletes.
It was, yes. Luckily, the people at West Coast Classic, the people running it, were amazing. They actually allowed me to slightly adjust the height of the rings, which was, I mean, like I said, awesome of them on their part. From a bigger picture standpoint, it's just a health and safety issue, right? Like I was at the point where I could stand there, reach up and grab the rings full-handed, and so yeah, I'm glad that something is hopefully going to be done, at least like moving in that right direction.
Yeah, that's a major first step. And I know that you're not the only tall athlete out there, and it's really not fair that you guys are put in that position where you can't even kip during your gymnastics movements.
Definitely. It changes, it essentially changes the whole workout. Changes how you approach the workout when you're breaking sets, even just how you're doing the movements, like how I was doing toes to bar or pull-ups, or, luckily, like I said, the ring muscle-ups were able to be changed. But for a lot of the work on the bar, like, guys that are taller, like myself or Brent Fikowski, who's a big advocate for all of this, it really does affect how you're performing, and it changes from a performance and a showcase of your fitness to a way to basically just do the reps and stay safe. So.
Yeah. And we have a lot of young athletes that are much taller than our typical, like Dallin Pepper, James Sprague. They're coming up with that same issue. So I'm glad that something's being said and we can do something moving forward. So on to lighter subjects now. I know you're a West Virginia grad.
I am.
Mountaineer. That is a crazy place. I grew up just north of Pittsburgh. That is just south of Pittsburgh. And I've been to Morgantown a few times. I will say it was not for fitness or sports related activities.
Yeah.
And
that's what a lot of the people go to West Virginia for. So you're okay. Yeah. You're in the masses.
And the campus is built on the side of a mountain.
Pretty much the whole town is. Pretty much the whole state is just a mountain. It's quite interesting. Yeah. Walking from class to class, like, you get a full workout in. That's for sure.
Yeah. Even in Western Pennsylvania, where I went to school initially, like, you had to go, my 8 a.m. class was on the other side of the hill from my dorm. So you had to go up and then down. Any fun activities done in the mountains down there?
Oh man, there's a ton of fun stuff you could do. That's the one thing that I do miss being out here. There's a very large outdoor scene here in Las Vegas, but it's just different having the trees, like being able today, actually this morning, I was down by, like, this is like, besides Lake Mead out here, this is like the first lake that I had seen, and it was just this little man-made thing. But it kind of just made me miss home. Like, I want to go fishing. I'm going home actually in a couple of weeks. I'm going to get to hunt for West Virginia deer season, so I'm pretty excited about that. But I mean, yeah, just being outside is a lot of fun, and like being outside back home is a lot of fun. It's cool. Yeah. Like I said, it's nice out here. It's just different.
The crazy thing we used to do in college is we would steal or borrow the lunchroom trays. And then at the top of the hill, we would use those to sled ride down the other side to get to class.
Yeah, for sure.
Or snowboard or whatever.
We would do some stuff like that at the football games, WVU football games, because there's always just like little hills, and actually right next to the stadium there's Law School Hill, which is like one of the biggest, like, what people will run steps up there is like their exercise for the day. Like, it's super steep hill, but you would do the same thing. You just grab like cardboard boxes, or people would have like empty beer cases. You just sit on that thing and like ride it down. Dude, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So you grew up in West Virginia your whole life?
Yep. Yeah, I was born and raised in Morgantown. My parents are both from the area, and that's where my grandparents are from as well. So yeah, grew up there. Basically, had lived there my whole life till I was 23 years old, and then moved 2,000 miles away.
And you got your degree in business administration?
I did.
And immediately went into the fitness world?
Yeah. So I had been doing CrossFit since I got to college, and then an opportunity arose right as soon as I graduated. Like, when I say literally the day after, my graduation wasn't the day after. My graduation was on a Friday, and that Monday I started work for a new gym owner who had opened up a box, or not quite a box. It was just more of a boutique fitness facility. But there I got to do a lot of like personal training, a lot of one-on-one, like individual program design, and just, basically like learning how to work with individuals. So I did that, and now here we are. Yeah.
Well, there's a couple steps along the way. You got a job doing strength and conditioning for a women's basketball team.
I did. Yep. One of the connections that we were able to make through this facility that we were at was with the Fairmont State women's basketball team, which was a Division II program. I believe they've done very well, like as far as making it to the tournament each year, the D2 tournament. So yeah, I got to work with them over the course of not quite 2 full seasons, but almost, like, I left right as they were in the midst of their second season.
And then you also got hired by an Opex gym?
Yep. So that was the gym that I worked at right out of college, was Opex Morgantown. So I got to work out of there. And like I said, that's kind of where I got the start of learning how to do individual program design, learning how to, listen to the clients, listen to the athletes, be able to give them what they need and as well as what they want. And which has been really, really helpful for now transitioning back into like the individual design through CrossFit. Because with Opex, and there's nothing against Opex, but it does tend to support or get the support of, more general pop fitness people, individuals. So being able to work with Justin and the Underdogs and, work through the individual design method, but with a sport that I love and with, movements that I love, that's been a really special thing. I'm really happy that I'm able to do that.
It's kind of weird because the only reason I even heard of Opex personally is through like Tanil Reed.
Yeah.
Because she was at an Opex gym in Arizona.
Right.
And
she was with it was Sam Smith or Mike Lee at the time, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's where I first heard of Opex and all that kind of stuff. So that was my first foray into that. And I didn't really understand that it was more for general pop than it was for competition, because she was at the time like the fittest American woman.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay. I kind of understand a little bit more.
And there are definitely ways of blending the two. I mean, honestly, like before I worked with Justin, I had an Opex coach. He had an Opex gym in State College, Pennsylvania. So I was working with him for about 2 years before I made the transition to Justin. So it's definitely, you can do fitness. You can do competitive fitness through Opex. It just seems like like I said, it was more eye-opening to me because, it showed me that like I should be working on my weaknesses. Like I should be spending time developing the things that, a blog fitness program isn't going to approach. So that was kind of the insight for me. And then, like I said, with Justin, I started working with him, and that led into the more competitive fitness. And then obviously now I'm coaching as well as competing in fitness. So.
Yeah. And you also did a team with CrossFit Ridgeline.
I did.
2-time regional team competitor. What was that experience like?
It was a great experience. It was a great opportunity. I mean, truly, if I didn't have that, I don't think that I would be where I am at. Just the fact of being able to go to a regional and compete, and see the higher level guys. Like I've got to watch Noah, and guys like Travis Mayer and Ben Smith at these regionals, whenever I was on a team, and obviously looking up to those guys. So it's been really surreal, like competing against Noah this year. Like that was just such a crazy experience. But yeah, I like team. But I think that I like the individual competition a little bit more.
It had to, first of all, you would never look up to Noah.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Being a 6'4" on a team with a worm, like that cannot help you, because I am sure your teammates were not of equal size.
No, actually we got pretty lucky. It made it a little bit easier, being that I was 6'4", and then our next female was 5'11", and then our next guy was like 5'8", and then we had a female that was like 5, I think she's like 5'6". So it was kind of this nice little descending order, and that's how we would do it. Like I would be in the front, the 5'11" girl would be next to me, like behind me, and then it would be Gage and Hillary. Like it would just go down. But there were, like, I'm sure that you've seen with the worm, communication is key. And there had been a couple times where, communication was not on point. And when you drop a worm from all the way up here, it falls a little bit harder. So we had a couple instances. One time I got screwed by it. I got like whiplash back. And then the other time we dropped the entire worm on one of our females, which is not a great moment, but it's all good. You live and you learn. It was funny to look back at now. So.
And is CrossFit Ridgeline in Morgantown or around that area?
Yep. Yeah. CrossFit Ridgeline's in Morgantown. They're still active, still a huge gym. I don't think they have a competitive like team anymore, but yeah, they're still there. Probably drop in there whenever I head back.
Yeah, I think my best friend has dropped in there before. He used to be a crane operator, and he did a lot of work down in West Virginia, and so he would drop into gyms down there all the time. And I think he mentioned that one.
Ridgeline is it's the biggest CrossFit gym in Morgantown, so that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So now we're going to try to get back on track. So you worked as a PT aide as well?
I did. Yeah.
So you took your business degree and said, the heck with all that accounting and economic stuff. I'm going to do personal training and physical therapy.
Yeah. So it's kind of a whole, I'm not even sure really how to explain how or why it happened the way it did. But my mom is a PT. And so I was doing some like intern PT aid work for her at one of her locations for I think like two years. It would be like a little bit off during school, but most summers I would go in and work there. And that was actually really cool. Obviously just being around people who know the human body as well as PTs do. Cause that was right at the time as I was getting into like really getting into fitness. So I'm like always asking them questions. I'm like, oh, hey, like I'm doing this exercise. Like, what should I be feeling? Like, how do I, make my knee stop hurting? Like, how do I stretch this out? So that was a cool little like side adventure, I guess is the best way to say it. But then, I went to school. I finished with my degree in business administration. My dad's an accountant. So that's kind of what got me into that. And I ended up actually doing some work for him. He didn't work in an accounting firm, but he worked in the like accounting department for a company in Morgantown, and it really showed me that like that 9 to 5 is not for me. Like sitting there behind a desk, I mean, I hated it. I was not a fan. So that's why I was like kind of like looking for ways to, professional, like to treat fitness professionally. And I found that through the Opex, and then now I'm trying to do it professionally, but just on the other side, try to be an athlete.
It's funny. My degree's in business administration as well. I actually went all the way through a master's, and now all I want to do is be a podcaster and media guy. So nothing to do with business, but
no, it's been helpful to know some of those things. Just what you learn through like how to run a business and how to, how to act professionally. That stuff was helpful, but have a different passion, different fire burning.
At least you figured that out at 22. It took me till I was 51.
Yeah. I'm very lucky.
So, so the PT work, how much did it help you when you started to do programming and personal training, just understanding the movement of the human body and what you were trying to achieve?
Oh, vastly help my knowledge, help my ability as a coach. A lot of what I see whenever it comes to working with individuals, whether they're athletes or whether they're in the Gen Pop, like a lot of people, like not everybody moves the same. Everybody's body is just a little bit different, what they can do, and like what they're able to do safely is different for each person. And so learning that from a young fitness coach age, rather than me just going out and being like, okay, hey, this is the way that you do it. This is how muscle is grown. Like everybody's going to do the same exact thing. it was really nice that I was able to, to learn that individuals, like I said, the individuals move differently. People have different injuries, different limitations. And so, yeah, learning the actual process of like how the human body works and how you can, achieve similar stimuluses, or how you can, keep somebody's spine safe and keep somebody's lower back from getting hurt. Like learning all those things from an early age, I feel like has been super helpful for me, because now I'm able to not even really have to like go back and relearn anything or redo anything. I'm just able to I guess, yeah, just take that knowledge that I've kind of built up and been used to being around and move it forward.
That's great. So how did you find Justin?
So I originally met Justin in this little like kind of janky competition in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia. We were down towards Beckley, and there was a Spartan race, and then they were also hosting the USA Functional Fitness. And I went there for the USA Functional Fitness, and it was crazy looking back at it now, because there was like some really good male athletes, like Matt Morton was there, Zach Souter, got a little fly flying around, Zach Souter, like Ken Battison, like all these guys who were around the sport for a while. They've done grid, they've done CrossFit, whatever, as well as like Colleen Foch was there, Amanda Goodman was there. There's some pretty good level athletes, but there was literally maybe 16 of us in this little like grassy area in the middle of the Spartan race. We're doing like clean and jerks kind of on the side of a hill, like on these little like plywood platforms. Like it was janky, but it was a very cool experience. So I like met Justin there, but I didn't really know him. And then we ended up, from that, I ended up being able to go to London to compete on a team for the USAFF. And whenever I was out there, Justin and I had just, we were all kind of there together, and I spent a lot of time around him, and just talking and kind of like getting to know him. He was getting to know me. And so through that process was really where we like got close and kind of established a connection and established like a relationship. And then it wasn't for another year that I started to work with him. So I was still like with my other coach. And then we went to Sweden together, and same thing, kind of like met up again in Sweden, kind of like rekindled the relationship and the friendship that we had. And when I got back, like the day after I got back, I was like, hey, can you coach me? And he's like, yeah, sure. And this is like right at the time, like this was right before he had baby Jax. And really before he had like been coaching a lot of people, like he was just coaching Carrie at the time. And I remember the conversation. I even said to him, I was like, hey, so like hypothetically asking for a friend, if there was like this tall athlete, like male, who wanted to work with you, what would you say? And he's like, well, if the tall athlete's you, then yeah, for sure. Like, let's work together. And he was a little hesitant at first. Like I said, he was like, I don't know how much time I can give to you with this new baby coming and with coaching Carrie. But it was hopefully he says the same. Hopefully I'll make him proud one day. But it was one of the best decisions that I could have made, was just asking him to coach me.
So when you asked him, was he still in New York or did he move to Vegas?
Yeah, he was still in New York. So this was like this time 2 years ago. So I worked with him all the way through the quarantine and the first like stage of the pandemic and all that stuff. So he was still in New York at the time, and he was there for, I guess like a full year and a half, really. Or no, it was just a couple months, because he moved during the quarantine. He moved out here. That's another little fun story.
So, and we've heard that story from him, but I want to ask you, what made you move to Vegas?
So I came out here to train with Carrie, Danielle, and Bethany as Carrie was preparing for stage 2 of the 2020 CrossFit Games. And I moved out here, or I came out here to visit, and just being around everybody, like just being in that setting, like in that environment, with high level athletes, just the work ethic, the dedication that those guys show. like it was astonishing, and it showed me that if I really wanted to make this a career, she's really good at handstand push-up, and she's really short. So she was just like repping mouth, and I'm like, I gotta keep up. Like I just gotta go. But like having that next to you, you know, like if I was at my house, I wouldn't have pushed that hard. Like if I was just at my own gym by myself, like odds are I wouldn't have wanted to go that fast. I would have been like, okay, handstand push-ups are hard for me. Like I'm gonna do what I think I can do. But instead you just like you elevate to that level. You show up and show out. So it's really cool.
Yeah. That's what we were talking to. I know Annika said she's coming down to Vegas in a couple months or something like that, or
that's awesome.
just to get in that environment, just to see like where she's at and what she can do. So
yeah, for sure. And that's what I mean. Like it almost takes like, you know, you have to come into it almost knowing that like, I mean, it is kind of like a competition every day, and you do get your butt kicked, and there's a lot of times where you're humbled and exposed, and there's also times where you exceed your own expectations, but if you don't lose, like that's like, how are you ever going to get better, you know?
Right.
Especially in a sport like this where, you know, seconds matter, transitions matter, speed of like cycle speed matters. You know, you learn all those things by doing it day after day.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Made it back.
I made it back. But it sounds like you guys are having a great conversation. I wish the record would keep going. So what I had was that if you wanted to be a competitive athlete, and that's where it kind of cut off, and you'd said you would come out to train with Bethany and Carrie and Danielle for Carrie to get to the games.
Yeah.
And then you said if you wanted to be a competitive athlete,
I think what I was saying was just that if you really do want to be a competitive athlete, putting yourself in the environment and in the training situations like these camps that are arising, I really think that's the best way to do it. And I think what I was saying is that you're going to start to see the athletes that do that on a daily basis, or at least like for most of like a majority of the year, that they are training alongside of other phenomenal athletes, or just other, you know, with their coach, like with a team and a group around them. I feel like you're going to see those guys progress a little bit faster and a little bit further than, you know, the guys that are just in the gym or in their own garage with the headphones on and just pounding away.
And as I pop back on, you and Charlie were talking about the push you get from those athletes, and I don't want to speak for you. So Charlie, what was the question that got Matt to talk about competing against Carrie and all of that in the quarterfinals?
I mean, it was just, we were just talking about being in that environment, and just like he said, of being able to push yourself from not being at home in a cold gym by yourself and going, I don't want to do wall balls today, so I won't do that. But, you know, you show up there and you see these phenomenal athletes going at it, and you're like, well, I'm not going to be the guy in the back, you know, getting crushed and feeling like, why am I here? You know, I'm going to keep up. So, and then just kind of got into the camps and how that works.
So you move out there, you move to Vegas, you're working out with Danielle Brandon, Carrie Pierce, and Bethany Shadburn, three of the top women in the sport. And you're the lone guy. You and Justin, and I guess Jax, are just kind of hanging out there. Yeah. What was that like, being kind of the only guy and being kind of a different kind of athlete than the others?
Yeah. You know, well, so to like, you know, not to leave out Nicholas, we had the Argentinian, I think he was the national champ this year, or he was pretty stud athlete. He's just a beast overall, super nice human. We had Nick up here for a couple months. Like whenever I first got up here, he was out here. And then Tola moved out here in February. So like, it was nice to have a couple guys, you know, but we are kind of dominated by ladies in the gym, which is fine. It is what it is. Those girls are amazing at what they do. You know, being like, if you look at myself versus Carrie, obviously that's going to look a lot different, and how we move is going to look different. You know, and so that's something that Justin and I try to work on it and talk about like every day, is just like, what can I do to best my performance? Like, what can I do to maximize my potential on any given workout? You know, and one of the things that we talk about a lot is movement efficiency, and just being a taller athlete. Like, you can't move poorly anytime if you want to make it to the CrossFit Games, which is, you know, obviously the goal. But especially like as a bigger guy, like you know, if you've got sloppy movements, if you don't know what your body's doing, if you aren't in control of it, if you aren't being as precise as you can be, you're just going to end up wasting your time and wasting your effort. And you know, like doing, like I was telling Charlie, there's a bee right next to me. Hate bees. Sorry, but you know, like doing handstand push-ups next to Carrie, like she is ridiculously fast at them. Like, it's just silly, and her hands are like her range of motion is just so short, and it's crazy. But you know, like for me, whenever we do workouts like that, or like workouts that have burpees in them, or GHDs, like movements that I'm not great at, and I do them next to Carrie or Bethany, like Bethany is a tank. Like her engine is phenomenal, and Danielle is just an athlete. Like, she's just athletic. Like, no matter what you throw at her, she's going to be able to hit it. But like, it's like, I really do like pushing with Carrie, because it's like, we could not be on more opposite ends of the spectrum. Like, we are literally as far apart as we can be. But for me, like, that elevates my game, because I need to be able, I know what it looks like to do it at a world-class level, right? Like, I know what burpees need to look like to be world-class, and I know what GHDs and the speed of, you know, whatever movement it is. And so being able to like push myself to try to come up somewhere close to that standard, like, I know I have to know that I will never be able to do strict handstand push-ups as far as Carrie does. Little side story about that. We were talking about it yesterday. She has to have the record for the most handstand push-ups ever. Whenever she first got into CrossFit, she did a max set of handstand push-ups. You guys have any guesses what the max set would be for Carrie Pierce?
Well, she does everything strict.
She does.
So
she started strict on these, and then she switched to kipping. So I'll let you if that plays a role.
I would
42.
How many?
42.
I'd say 64.
Y'all got to add like 200 reps.
Shit.
237 handstand push-ups without coming off the wall. How
What?
crazy is that? I can't even fathom that. She was like, she told me, she was like, yeah, there was somebody in the gym, like the owner did a full entire Metcon, like 7, 8, 9 minutes of working out before I came down off the wall. I was like, I couldn't even hold a handstand that long. And you were just I'm sure she was just like smiling, just like, oh yeah, this is easy, it's nice.
Yeah. I mean, you could see at the
Ridiculous.
road when she was just like, I'm gonna just come down just because. Why not?
Just because. Exactly. She's just a tank, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was actually standing with Justin when on that chipper, and when she got to the second set of handstand push-ups, he looks at me and goes, "Here's where we win." And sure enough,
and it's just like
the
like
distance she put between her and number 2 at that point was huge.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. She's an awesome human too. Yeah, good people.
You couldn't do push-ups that many in a row. Regular push-ups.
Nope. There's yeah. That's crazy.
So I'm just blown away. I actually have more questions, but I'm just blown away by that number. So then Tola comes, right? And you finally get to have like the bro sesh, the dude, and you guys like, it's an affection for us because we are the Clydesdale, fitness and friends. You guys are typical Clydesdales, tall, Tola's big, and Tola is such a freak athlete. Like his home runs are like what you just said about Carrie. That burpee over box thing in the quarters.
Yeah. Impressive. And that's what I mean. Even like, so this is just about Tola. I don't know like when this will come out. I don't even think he would care that I said it. He hasn't posted it yet. I know he's going to. He has been spending a ton of time doing aerobic stuff. So running every day or almost every day, like swimming a bunch, rowing a bunch. Came into the gym yesterday, you know, not that he really like needs to lift a ton because he's already super strong, but you know, he lifts like a couple times a week now. Came in the gym, did a little piece with me yesterday, ended up power cleaning 365, catching it like it was 165. I mean, just the dude is a powerful freak. Like he is just impressive, like the amount of force he can create. Yeah, he's and you know that was kind of another like almost like a carry moment where I'm trying to keep up with her on handstands. Like that was awesome on that workout. To try to compete with Tola and to try to catch up to him on some of those burpees and snatches. And you know, like obviously it helps for me to be able to push off of those guys. And really it helps us all. You know, because we know that there are workouts that like one person's going to crush or that, you know, that I can try to match pace with, or I can try to do whatever. And so it's just this really cool dynamic. Like it's competitive out here, but it's healthy. It's friendly. It's motivating. It's like everybody's pushing each other forward. It's not like, oh, I'm going to try to beat everybody today. And like, if I don't beat them, I'm not going to talk to them, you know?
It seems like it takes that question out of your head of, can I do this with the top level of people? And you're like, yeah, I do it every day. I mean, it's not like I'm beating 40-year-old guys at the gym. You know, I can't compare myself, but I'm hanging with arguably the best female American ever.
You
know,
and I think like, and I mean, like truly, I think Bethany can claim that title this upcoming year. Like she's on a whole nother level, whole nother page. But yeah, like that's something that is, you know, it takes a little bit of like pulling yourself back and looking at the bigger picture. You know, because it can get kind of easy like day after day to beat yourself up and you know, obviously like a lot of the workouts that we do aren't going to be geared towards me. You know, like unfortunately we can't do rowing and wall balls all day. Right. So you know, the few times that we do that, obviously I like to show up, but you know, like day after day, like a lot of workouts are based on, or you know, other people have their strong suits within those workouts. And so it can be easy to like get down on yourself, and you know, like the comparing starts and just the questioning of like, oh man, like can I actually do this? Am I actually good enough? And it's like I do that whenever I'm racing like Carrie or Bethany or Danielle in a gymnastics heavy workout. And when I step back, I'm like, well, Carrie and Bethany and Danielle are arguably some of the best athletes at gymnastics, like in the sport. So like, even though, yeah, I'm losing to them by a minute, it's like, that's only getting me better. Like, yes, you're losing, but you were like falling forward every single time. You were getting better each day. So that's been a cool thing too. Yeah. It's just super cool out here.
So where was the transition to coach again? Was it always kind of your hope to work with Justin as a coach, or did that just kind of naturally come?
You know, that's an interesting question. I've always enjoyed coaching. You know, I've always loved it. What I really like about the remote coaching that I do now is that it allows me to have a flexible schedule and to have freedom of my time. And so I'm not, you know, needed to be anywhere at a certain time until a certain time, like none of that stuff. So, you know, remote coaching was always something that I wanted to do and continue doing. And obviously I enjoy the one-on-one individual aspect of coaching. So whenever Justin was opening up his Underdogs program, and then, you know, looking to start adding these different tracks as far as like the teams and the masters and then the individuals, like I asked him if that was something that I could do for him and if I could work for him. And, you know, he said yes. And he's been like very, very helpful and very open to me. Like that's the other cool thing that I try to utilize him for, is just like using him as a resource. And knowing that he knows a ton about coaching, he knows a ton about relationships, you know, and just how to develop athletes. And so being able to learn that from him, I already know that it's going to be invaluable to me as a coach as I go through my career. Like obviously athletics is what I want to do, and the competitive side is what I want to do. But I do figure at some point, like I will transition to a full-time coach. And so learning everything that I can from Justin, it's one of those things, like you don't always know it in the moment, but looking back, I'm sure that I'm going to be like super, super, super happy with all the aspects that I learned from him.
Well, my guy Charlie here, he's looking for some programming. He, in his mind, he thinks he's an elite athlete in the 40 to 44-year-old division.
Yep.
And Underdogs just came out with a master's track. Thoughts? You think that's the right way for Charlie to go?
Definitely. I think everybody should be on the Underdogs track, especially you, Charlie. But no, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, it's awesome. We've got such an amazing group of coaches too. Like the pedigree of all these coaches that we're adding is just, I mean, it's second to none. Like looking at some of the other, I'm not going to comment on all that. But I know like the level of coaches that we have is phenomenal. The people that are writing the programming, whether it's teen, regular, or masters, you're going to reach those goals for sure.
Yeah, and what
I've
I
already
like
I put a petition out already to make wall balls at 8 foot instead of 10. So it's going to go right alongside your ring petition that you guys have going for the tall guys. Short guys need a little something as well.
Nah, I don't know. I feel like short guys got it. If anything, I'd like to make it taller. Maybe I can talk to somebody about making it a higher target.
And this 30-foot box business is.
No, we like all that.
What I like about the tracks is that Justin, for someone who's been around the game so long and someone who is so smart, he's not this guy that's like, I am going to do it all. He's bringing in the best of the best for each individual category and letting them do the programming. So it's not like some of the programs where you have your competitive program and everything is just like a watered down version of that for the different tracks. Mm-hmm. This is something that is individual for that group. And I think that's just a brilliant concept.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's something that Justin does really well. Is he is pretty good at I can't think of that word, but of delegating, different work to different people. And I think that he knows where he's at as well as his limits. And I think that's the issue that you run into, with kind of like you said, watering down some of the other programs and just like, dropping the weights, but having it be the same workout for a teen athlete or a master's athlete. Each of those different categories does require different training. And I think that's something that Justin realized, and he knows that he can't do it on his own. And so even just like I said, that I'm learning from him, I'm sure that he's doing the same thing, bringing on these people that are, specialists for master's athletes or for teen athletes or for like adaptive athletes. Like that was something that I think is really, really sweet. We have an adaptive coach, to offer programming for adaptive athletes, but yeah, I'm sure that he is learning as much as he can to like seeing how other people do it.
Yeah. So how excited are you when to get the new facility?
I'm very pumped. It'll just be cool to like have our own place and to be able to like have a true underdog community. I think that's kind of the tough part right now is that we go in and we have our own kind of group, but we only go in during open gym. And, so like the CrossFit gym that we go to, like sometimes and this is just my personal feelings, it might not be the truth, but sometimes I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect between the two of us. And so that's what I'm looking forward to with Justin's new gym, is like having everybody, like we're all like there together, and, the classes can intermingle with the competitive athletes. And, yeah, that's something that I feel strongly about too, is making sure that like the community sense isn't lost as you go on your competitive journey. Well,
I think what was crazy for me is, I came out for West Coast Classic and Culmination was a destination that I wanted to see, right? That's where you guys do your thing.
Mhm.
I've seen all the Instagram posts with the windows and all that stuff, and I wanted to see what it looked like. I was stunned at how small it was.
Yeah.
Stunned.
Like the actual facility.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it gets the job done for us. But I think that what Justin's planning on doing is going to be, I think it's going to be pretty phenomenal. I'm excited to see what he's got under wraps.
The other thing that blew me away is like we wanted to get t-shirts and stuff, and they didn't have many. Like,
Yeah.
like they don't understand the concept of that. You guys have made this a destination for the CrossFit world. That's a place people want to go and see. And, you know, I know Justin is going to have t-shirts and stuff available for when people come to town, because you're not just a destination for fans, you're a destination for other athletes. You know, Charlie
Right.
mentioned it when we were kind of coming back on air that Annika Greer's coming out there to test herself against you guys and see what it's like out there. Allison Scuds did that last season and now is a permanent member of Underdogs.
Yeah.
You know, you have Alex out there now. You guys are growing because it's becoming a destination for all athletes. And that vibe has got to be super cool.
It is. Like, it's what I'll tell you what that I think is the coolest is that aside from everybody being freak athletes and being phenomenal at what we do, everybody is such high quality, high caliber human beings. Like the character that everybody shows at the gym is second to none, and I love that. I think that's cooler than anything. Like, I think that is cool. I think that the way that Carrie is as a person is cooler than the fact that she can do 237 handstand push-ups. You know, but I think that that's one of the great things that we have is that we attract that high quality people, and you know, everybody that's in there is literally coming in knowing that they are wanting to get better. They're coming in knowing that they, you know, aren't the best at what they do, or like you said, they want to kind of test themselves and compare themselves to like what they can be. And yeah, it's just it's such a great. It's laid back, but it's driving and it's motivating and it's inspiring. You know, it's just it's something that like I said, I definitely probably take it for granted, like just how amazing it is to be able to work out next to Bethany and being able to work out with Tola and with Carrie and Danielle. Like, you know, I don't always see it as what it is. But whenever you look at it, like, hey, I'm working out with 4 people who have been to the CrossFit Games, like pretty sweet to do that on a day after day basis.
So I would be remiss not to ask this last question about all of that. And that is the new athlete that just joined Justin this offseason, coming off his 4-year ban from PED use, and that is Ricky Garrard. You are one of Justin's first coaches hired. You're a ground level Underdogs guy. What are your thoughts and impressions about what's going to happen there?
You know, I think that like as an athlete, I'm really excited because, again, it's just another example of a guy who's really, really good at what he does, and it's somebody that I can push off of. It's you know, like knowing what his times were, knowing what his paces were, knowing whatever, like, and being able to push off of that. I mean, like, he's a stud, and I think he'll be pretty dominant this upcoming year. I mean, obviously, like as an athlete myself, you know, you see that as, again, it's like, it's tough because it's somebody that you want to beat, you know, and like at the end of the day, like hopefully next year we'll both be competing at the CrossFit Games. But I think like with his story, I definitely support that. And I support, you know, the idea that everybody deserves second chances. And, you know, I think that it's incredibly virtuous, the fact that he has, you know, he did his time. He admitted to what he did. He took the blame for it. And, you know, I think that a lot of times when you see people do that in our sport, you end up seeing them just kind of fizzle out after their ban. I don't really think that you see anybody coming back after a 4-year ban. Like 4 years in CrossFit is a long time. so I think that speaks to the heart and the passion and dedication that Ricky has. And again, that's the same with like all of the other underdogs. So I think it's super cool that he gets to be, or you know, that we get to be part of his journey as an athlete, and that he can be part of the underdogs journey as well. So yeah, I think it's super cool.
So let me ask you this, and we'll move on. What are your goals for this year? Right, you had some really good events at West Coast.
I did,
but you weren't able to put that complete package together to get your ticket to the games. So
Yeah,
what are you
for sure.
doing to improve those chances? And do you think you have what it takes this year to punch that ticket?
Yes. At the end of the day, I know that I have what it takes, and it's just a matter of being patient and knowing when that time is going to come in my journey. What I'm doing day after day is just making sure that no stone is unturned. Making sure that every single day, whenever from the time that I wake up to the time that I go to sleep, like every decision is based on how can I be the best version of myself? How can I be the best athlete? I think that the West Coast Classic was really eye-opening for me, and I learned a lot about it, you know, from a competitive standpoint, as well as from like a personal standpoint of just, you know, how to manage emotions, how to how to mentally approach a competition, or I mean, like really like how to deal with getting punched in the face, and how to deal with like your plan not going to plan. And so it, like, the West Coast Classic was a huge competition for me. Obviously, freaking flies are everywhere. It was obviously a huge competition for me, and I learned a lot from it. And so now it's just a matter of like taking everything that I've learned and practicing it day after day. And as I said, it's more than just learning what I'd learned from a fitness standpoint. Like the fitness side is nice, and like I did, you know, I got some holes in my game exposed. But really, I think that it's more, I learned more of like how to mentally approach competition, how to mentally approach, you know, like I said, what happens if your plan doesn't go to plan, and just be a little bit more of a more resilient athlete.
And so if people don't know, at West Coast, the media area and the coaches area were the same thing. Do you hear Ashley and Justin when you're on the floor?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, you hear Ashley anytime. She's the number one support group or support person of the Underdogs. She's awesome. And then Justin, like, he just has a distinct voice. You know, he's got, like, when you hear him yell, like when you hear him, you know, instructing you or cheering for you, yelling at you, you hear it. And but again, it's something that's so special because you hear it day after day in the gym too. And so whenever I'm on a competition floor, like, that's something that I wasn't super used to, but this, like, West Coast Classic really opened my eyes to that. Is like, you know, I do that stuff day after day. Like we throw down and we, you know, hit home runs, and we do what we do day after day. So when we step onto that competition floor, like, you know, I think that's something that the girls do really well, is they just, like, it's just another day for them. You know, it's just another workout. And so, yeah, like being able to have both Justin and Ashley there, and kind of being able to compete in our backyard was a very cool, just a very unique opportunity. It was very special to say that.
Yeah, I didn't know that so much noise could come out of such a little person. But Ashley
There's a lot of fire.
Yeah, she is up on the barrier, leaned over, yelling with all of her might. And Justin, I think, does about a half marathon for every event.
Oh yeah, he's a pacer for sure. He's you know, he's like at the, you know, watching everybody face on, and then he'd walk around the side, probably walk to the other side and come back. And yeah, Ashley's just a firecracker. They're like, it was super cool for the quarterfinals, like, because we did have a couple of event records and event wins. Like, she was there cheering them all on and yelling for us. And, you know, you kind of miss that with the whole pandemic, but she definitely filled up for, you know, at least 100 people in the stands cheering it.
Yeah. Yeah. So my last question, and we'll let you go, is, Justin always calls it the Underdogs Family. Is that how you feel, like that this has become like your second family?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody, like, each, I feel like for myself, I've got relationships with each person, that, each one's a little bit different, but it's still just as special. And I felt like that from day one. Like, again, this really goes to show like how special of the opportunity that it is, and just like how I was saying that the quality and the character of the people that are here is amazing. And it was like that from day one. Like, as soon as I got here, obviously with Justin and Ash, like, and I was over at their house a good bit whenever I first moved out here, they were just like kind of taking me in. And then even with like Carrie has been such a phenomenal role model, and just like taking me in and wanting to teach me and help me. And same with Bethany. Like, I feel like they're kind of like my older sisters a little bit. And Tola's like, my brother. We kind of like, we act like brothers in the gym. I think that's the same way with the girls. Like, definitely, kind of like sister, and just like, they're very caring. They're very nurturing. They want to see you succeed. And again, like, that's something that's so cool about what we're doing is, you've got these guys that have been in the sport for 8, 9, 10 years. Like, Carrie's competed at the games for 7 years. Bethany's been there for a long time. Even DB has been in the game for a long time. And so I think that now, like, even they are seeing like, hey, I can pass along some of the things that I know. Like, I can teach somebody else through the experiences that I've been through and through the journey that I've been through. And I've been talking with Bethany a lot, like this past week, and just like Carrie since I got here, but just like taking what they have to offer and what they have to say, like the stories, the work ethics, the mentalities, the whatever it is. I think that they are getting to the point where they're realizing like, hey, we've got a lot of young athletes in here. Like you said, like we've got Alex and we've got, myself and even Tola and DB are on the younger side. So like, there's a lot of like the younger, it's kind of cool. Like, there's almost like 2 generations. And I think, Carrie, now that she's retired, she's getting to that point where she's like, all right, like, how can I now pass along what I've learned? And so it's really cool. You don't always see that with competitors or with people that are, vying for the same spot, the same money, the same whatever. But it's really special, like, because we are such a family and because we all do care about each other's success as much as we care about our own. I mean, I honestly could go on and on about it. I am so lucky to be in the position that I'm in.
Well, Matt, I just want to say, first of all, I apologize for the internet issues today. I did not know
No
they were going
worries.
to come bury my line. 2, you're awesome. Thank you so much for your time. It was good to get to know you. I was rooting for you last year at West Coast Classic, and I'll do it again, whatever semifinal you make it to this year, hoping you punch that ticket to the games.
Well, I appreciate
one last
that.
thing.
Yeah.
So I saw that they have the underdog bandanas. Does Danner have one yet?
Oh, heck yeah. I can go put it on him if you wanted, but yeah, he's got the bandana. I think we're going to do some, I think we're going to do like a little photo shoot with him to be able to like promote those bandanas and stuff too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. Hey, thank you guys. I really appreciate you reaching out and having me on here. And it's been fun. I've enjoyed talking to you guys. Yeah,
I'm hoping to get back out to Vegas. Justin has promised me a hike up over the mountain that him and the kids do, and with Ashley, and I want to do that one time. There's
hikes everywhere. The first hike that I went on out here, it's probably not the same one that he's talking about. It was the 5 of us. It was me, Nicholas, Danielle, Carrie, and Bethany. And we went on this hike thinking it was just going to be this nice, easy little thing. Ended up being 4.5 miles, like uphill. We got off the track, like off the path 18 times. Like, we're climbing up like sheer rock cliffs. Like, it was crazy. But whenever we got to the top, you could see the entire city of Las Vegas, and it was the coolest thing ever. So if you do get a chance, like I said, that one was a little tough, but yeah, definitely come out here and hike. Like, Red Rock is gorgeous, and just seeing Vegas, like being from Morgantown, it blows my mind how many people you can fit in one area. Just how big a city can be.
My first time in Vegas was during West Coast Classic. And I got to have dinner with Justin, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And Ashley and the kids. I just love them. They're awesome. So yeah, but we'll keep in touch, and good luck this year, and hope you do well.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.